Assalamu alaikum. This is your computer science teacher, Sir Fawad Akhtar Ansari, and today I'm going to explain you basic data types of the Python, but according to the Cambridge O levels computer science syllabus. So let's begin. Keep in mind that this video is only for the O levels and beginning of the Python language. So if you are a pro user, so this video is not for you. So it is just for the learners who wants to learn Python from the scratch. So let's begin the class. So let's discuss the Python that we already know that it is a programming language and it is user friendly and it is easy to use. So we already know about it and how to use it. So you have got two options that you may download it from the Google. You may download even the idle of it, or you may use online compiler for the practice, so you do not need to install it basically. So let's begin. So this is basically my book. Let me introduce my book. So this is my book that I have written it for the Python and the Java and the VB.NET according to the O levels computer science syllabus. So you may buy it from the Amazon. I will share the link in the description. It is a concise and effective book because I have given bunch of exercises with solutions and without solutions as well. So if you practice from this book, so I bet that you do not need any other programming book to cover O level computer science syllabus. So now okay, now let's go to the page. So as I told you that Python is a programming language, this and that, so just skip that part. So now basics of the Python. So we must know that there are two basic things. One is a variable and the other is the constant. So what is a variable? Basically, let's do it in the quick mode. So basically variable is a container which holds the value or which stores the value. So whatever the value is, we are basically storing into the container, and the container is called a variable. And what is the value? So the value could be integer, the value could be float, the value could be string, or value could be boolean. Now we have to understand that, okay, fine, we know that these are the values: integer, float, string, boolean, but what are these actually? So before going to understand this concept, so I would like to inform you that variable basically used to hold data temporarily because it is used to change the values on the runtime. But the opposite of the variable is the constant, and the property of the constant is that it is used to hold the data permanently. It is a fixed value that cannot be changed during the runtime. And what value, if I say that what kind of value, uh, let me draw the arrow for better understanding. So what value could be stored inside the constant that will be fixed and that cannot be changed? So the value could be the same thing: integer, float, string, or boolean. So the value could be like, this thing. I hope you understood the concept of the variable and the constant. So let's go for the data types. So these are the data types: integer, float, string, and boolean. These that I told you, so these are basically our data types, means For example, if I talk about the integer, so what is the integer? So integer basically a whole number. Like we do not accept any decimal number, we only accept whole numbers. So the whole number could be positive or it could be negative. It could be a 3-digit figure, it could be 4-digit figure, it could be 5-digit figure, and so on. The float contains the decimal value only. So you know that if you want to store decimal number like 4.7, 2.9, this and that, so we can store these numbers, and the negative values can also be stored into the float data type. So integer used to store the whole number, and the float data type used to store decimal numbers. I will show you the examples in the Python, so no worries about it. So let's first understand the integer in the online compiler. So for example, I'm using online official Python compiler. So for example, if I am talking about the variable only, I'm not talking about the constant. So just take a variable. For example, I take a variable and I name my variable age, and in this variable I store age 12, for example. And now I want to display it, so now I type print. Print means to display, and in the round brackets I use a quotation marks, and inside the quotation marks I just type a message. For example, age is, and then I use a separator which is a colon. It is optional. If you do not want to use a separator, then it's okay. I just gave it a space, and after the quotation mark I type comma. So here I will write the variable age. So this is it. Now why did I type the age after the comma? So let's run it and test it first, then I will explain. So age is 12. So 12, how 12 is here? So you know that after the comma I typed age. So inside the variable age, what number or what integer is there? It is a 12. Let's suppose I want to assign or store the value 32. Now I click on the run. So this is how you can see that 32 is displayed. So after a comma, the purpose of writing the variable name or typing the variable name is to display the value basically. So on the runtime, it will not display age variable. Instead, it will display the value that it is used to hold. Now this is the perspective of the variable. What if I want to input, or for example I want a user input, like for example if anyone use my program, they input the age and then it will be displayed. So for this I have to type and store the values, and I have to type the code basically. For example, now I'm not assigning any age, instead I am taking user input. So I take the variable age, and I want a user to input only integer data type, only integer value. So I type the keyword int, means int. Next, I am taking user input, so I type input keyword. After that, I want to display a message inside the quotation mark, so enter your age. And now after that I will just type the column. So this is a message that I want to display. This is a user input, and the whole user input will have only integer data type. So I got you got the concept. I think that you got the concept. Like you take the user input and the entire user input must be of integer data type, and then it will be stored in the variable age. Now I just need to print it. Inside the quotation mark, your age is, and then comma age. Now let's test the code whether it is working or not. I click on the run. Now enter your age. Let's suppose I input 23. Okay, your age is 23. Let's do another test. I input 65. Okay, age is 65. Now let's test that whether my program is accepting the decimal value or not. So if I input 34.5, so it gives me error. Why it gives me error? Because I input float data type, which is not acceptable. Why it is not acceptable? Because I am accepting only integer data type. So I am only accepting integer data type. So that is why the program is following my instruction that your data type must be of integer instead of the float. So you can see I input 34.5, which is the float data type, decimal one. But here in the coding, I asked user to input the age, but the data type that I set myself is the integer. So you get it. Now, what if I want to use the float? So the same thing, I will type float, F-L-O-A-T, instead of the integer. So now let's check whether it is accepting or not. Now 34.5, it accepted. Now test number 2, 12.4, it accepted because my data type is the float. Another test, 56.7, yes, it accepted. Now let's check whether the Python is accepting the whole value or not, integer or not. I input 4, so it converts my integer into the float. You can see 4.0. I input the integer. So it automatically converts it into the float. So it means that it is somehow accepting the integer value, but it is converting it into the float data type. So the float is uh, supporting decimal numbers only, and the integer only supports whole numbers. I hope you got the concept. Now what if I talk about the string data type? So the string data type only holds alphanumeric characters. Alphanumeric means combination of alphabets and the numbers. So now let's suppose I change my code. I am taking the user input name, and my name data type is string, str. Str means string, and the same thing remains same. Enter your name, and here I have to change because I want to display my name, so that is why I am changing it. So string means that entire input will be converted into the string data type. Now for example, enter your name, so I input my name. Voila, my name has been printed or displayed. For example, I input another name. This is my complete name. Voila, it is successfully displayed. So basically the combination of alphanumeric characters or even alphabets only, so this is called the string data type. I hope you got the concept here. Okay, now let's go for the boolean data type. So basically in the boolean data type, there are only two conditions tested. One condition will be true and the other condition will be false. You may also consider it like you may make yes or no conditions. For example, you are making a program and you say that press M if you are a male, or press F if you are a female. So there are two conditions, male or female. So in this condition, we can use boolean data type to make one condition true and the other condition false, or vice versa. We can also set yes or no condition. For example, that have you traveled before? Press Y for yes and press uh, N for no. So it can be simplified like that. So for example, um, let's make a experiment on it. I'm taking two user inputs. So I take a variable and my variable name is num1, and I am taking the data type integer. It depends upon you. You want to take integer or float, it's your call. Enter number. Okay. Now I am copying the same code, and this is my another variable because I want to take two numbers, and the answer is num1 plus num2. So my answer will be stored, assigned, equal to sign. In the Python, equal to sign means we are assigning the left hand side, the right hand side into the left hand side variable, right? Means we are storing the values inside the variable. So basically right hand side values are storing to the variable which is on the left hand side. Now for example, I take the user input, user underscore input, or I can say user answer. So here I want to ask the user to enter his answer. For example, I'm taking the variable integer and enter your answer. So let's suppose I input 2 and then I input 3. So I will ask the user that enter your answer. So it will be stored in the variable user underscore answer. I hope you got the concept here. Now I want to make sure that user underscore answer is equals to the variable answer. Now this is a important thing, that in the Python we use 2 times equal to if we want to prove that left hand side is equals to right hand side, or vice versa. 2 times equals to means that we are proving that left hand side equals to right hand side, or vice versa. So in the Python, 2 times equal to is called equality operator. Equality operator. Let me write here equals to. 2 times equals to is known as 2 times equals to is known as equality operator. By the way, hash, it is not the hashtag, it is the hash. Basically it is basically used for the commenting your code. Like for example, I do not know, or I do not remember the purpose of this code. So the purpose of this code is to find the answer, or to compare the user's answer with the variable answer, right? Okay, so now next thing is, I hope you understood the purpose of equality operator. So 2 times equals to, it means we are talking about the equality operator. So we have to basically assign this entire thing into a variable. For example, I take the variable is underscore it underscore correct. Is it correct? This is the name of my variable. Is it correct? Is it correct? So it the entire value is storing in this variable. Now if is it correct, now here this is called a boolean expression, that if the above condition is true, let's suppose I input 2 and then I input 3, so 3 plus 2 is actually 5, and when my program asks me to enter the correct answer, and definitely I input 5, so both are correct. So if the above condition is true, then print you are right. Otherwise, if this condition gets false, so else print you are wrong. Now it's time to test the code whether it is working or not. Now I input 2, I input 3, enter your answer, I say 5, so you are right. Oh, I did the spelling mistake, RIGH. Now test number 2, I input 2, I input 3, I input answer, for example I am by mistake input 4, so you are wrong, because the above condition did not meet, did not meet, so this is wrong. Another test for our satisfaction, 50 plus 50 equals to 100, but instead 100 I am typing 110, so it says you are wrong because the above condition did not meet. So last one more test, 20 25, so it becomes 45, so yes, so it means that above condition met with the variable. So this is a concept of the boolean data type, whether the condition is true or the condition is false. I hope you got the concept of it. The data types which are limited to the O level syllabus in the Python. So if you have any queries, you may ask me. Thank you so much attending the class. Allah Hafiz.